Anyway,
They
y'all
can go
remember what
cheap.
happened last time we played?
I actually was going to ask for a recap.
Yeah.
Because I only vaguely remember, but I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure I remember, but I'm going to let the guy who's running the game give us the run back here.
Well, as I recall, after you had met with some folks around town, you did some shopping for clothes, for example. You had come back to meet with Volo and Renard, and I think that's where we left things. I don't believe that meeting's actually happened yet.
Volo and... I thought it was Floon and Volo.
Sorry, that's what I meant. I don't know why I said Renard.
I think Renoir was staying with Floon, is what it was. So it's gonna. He might still be there.
Totally.
That would make sense. So yeah, I believe that was what we were heading to do. So either we would just take a wagon and meet people or whatever, or
are
they?
Actually, they will meet you at Troll Skull Manor. You guys have a convenient meeting place that's private now, so there's really no reason for them to go elsewhere.
Interesting. All right.
I mean, to be fair, that's a capricious decision I'm making here. We could likewise do this at Flume's safe house, which is another private safe location.
I don't know. Isn't that where we found? Oh no! Oh no! Wrong place. Yep. I misremembered rather.
Also, it helps that Flume's safe house is literally 2 blocks down the road from you. So, as far as where you are in Waterdeep.
Oh, fair enough. That's right.
I probably wouldn't give up the location of a safe house, because then it's
we
safe.
Right.
Yeah, you guys discovered Flume's safe house. You broke into it.
Yeah.
Gosh, on your first night of investigating or whatever.
Yep. But that said, yeah, it would make sense to try to keep that as a more secretive location. I mean, if we're probably going to be having materials and stuff delivered throughout the day, so it makes sense that we would stay home to be able to sign for things and make sure that they're put in the right places.
Right. Oh, yeah, that was the other thing that you guys did. You fixed the door. Well, fixed is a weird way to put it, but you made arrangements so that the door can't be opened from the other side anymore.
Correct.
Until we decide otherwise.
Now, if we have some free time before people are going to meet up with us, I would like to, get around to maintenance in the house. Did we ever go around to hiring that serving boy or girl?
No. However, you guys did discuss making orders for things like the stone and lumber necessary to restore the basement and fix the downstairs walls and cladding. So I assume that's probably where you would have started on your next day, given that you could arrange to have that stuff sent by talking to your neighbors.
I think the first thing that we would actually want to do while we're waiting is check out the area that's been drained by the
by the pump.
Yeah, because that should be done by now. So
absolutely,
be able to check out
which map should I be on?
Let's open Troll Skull Manor players for now. Alternately, you can open Troll Skull Alley players because that's the neighborhood you're in Waterdeep.
If this is off time, is that a one-man or how many people are needed for that job?
The job of cleaning out the basement?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, you guys set a pump, an automatic gadget that Corona made to drain it. So, your next step, I guess, would be to assess what you need to do to restore that space if that's your aim. because you guys haven't actually inspected it since you did the drainage.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm wondering if there's if we can, in this one instance, split the party just for time's sake.
Sure. What did you want to do?
Or
Something about some less than motherfucking photos.
what was that? I'm sorry.
Something about some less than mother-friendly photos.
Yeah, that was garbled. I couldn't hear that.
Now, I believe you mentioned something about some less than family-friendly photos.
Less than family-friendly photos?
About some less than family-friendly photos.
I don't
Hey,
remember
Sing
that.
Suzu, I genuinely do not understand what you're saying. Like, to me, it sounds like you're like 5% outbound.
Just now?
Like, it's bouncing between like snap crackle popping. Like, I can't hear you that way. To I hear you clearly, but it's like super quiet.
Right now? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, hold on. Let me try and fix that.
Yeah, it's like you're coming in like 8-bit. It's weird.
That is weird. Okay, I've actually had this issue. Okay, one second.
Oh, do you have a noise counselor running? Sometimes those fuck up that way.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, you know what? That's actually kind of serendipitous because I might have just said something I didn't want anyone else to hear. So.
Oh yeah, we were wondering about that. That was totally just streamed out to the world and echoed multiple
you heard
times.
that?
Something about less than family-friendly photos.
Nothing the sort.
We were like,
Oh God.
I don't remember there being photos in this game world. But
no.
anyway.
No.
No, so okay, all right. Since you're not actually saying something, what I was thinking is that whomever wants to get the room that was deflooded squared away, we could do that. The other people can gather up the raw materials for the house, just so that everything is set up, so that eventually, once we do get a serving person, a live-in, that all of the stuff is there for them to like go, you know. But I don't know if we want to split the party or not.
Okay. Sure. Actually, let's start by having you repeat exactly what you just said because I totally wasn't listening. I'm sorry, man.
Something about moon bears in space.
Okay, I can make that happen.
All right. No, so the area that was pumped out of all that water,
Mhm.
the people who think that they are best suited to cleaning that out should stay here. The other guys should gather all of the crap that we set about to ordering, all the raw materials, the stone, the wood, the plaster, the whatnot.
Right.
So that once I or whomever spends the money for live-in, that they have all of the stuff ready to go, before they're here.
Okay, you're actually legitimately going to go get yourself a scholar?
Why not?
A dredge?
Yeah, why not? That makes us, members of the community, long-term members.
Yeah. Do you guys have enough money to buy a child off their parents?
Wondering if we could,
I'm sorry, I'm being super flip about it. That's not really what I mean, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, we were wondering if we could go to an orphanage and acquire a live-in apprentice, but I think we would, since we've been generously, compensated, patronized by the who were those people? They weren't the Harpers.
No, you're talking about the
Wizard.
gray hands.
Yeah, the Greyhands.
Oh yeah, I mean you did get a sort of
Oh yeah,
Like
and that
a
merchant we
put in a
fleeced.
housewarming present.
Yeah. No, and I was like, all the cut on costs too. I was thinking of uplifting a child's life, not just buying them from their
Yep.
parents.
You also did get that weird midnight delivery of stonework. In case you guys forgot.
Oh no, I do remember that. Yeah.
So yeah, I have no issue with you guys basically playing it out as one half of the party deals with the cellar's secret chamber, bootlegger basement, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it. While the other half goes and gets the goods and negotiates an apprenticeship / drudge job for someone. I'm gonna need to look that up really quick, but we can do that.
What's the what were the crap in like a serving house?
Sidekicks are in Xanathars, right?
I
I
think.
think so.
So.
Is it a charting house where carriages would come to get re-equipped on long journeys? What is that called?
Yeah, carriage house or a mile house if it's on the road.
Yeah. So the kind of job I was thinking, mile house. What were those? It's very often a boy because of our gendered society.
Yeah, like a stable boy.
Yeah, that's what I was at. That's the job. Like you keep saying dredge, and it makes me feel bad.
Well, if they were working in your house, that is literally what they would be doing.
Yeah.
Like that's the job they would hold.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
You're looking more for like a butler though, rather than a dredge. I think would be more like the direction you're going.
Yeah, we're upclassing the dredge. This place is not only an not an inn.
I see.
tap
I see.
house.
You're going to teach them to be a host, is what you're saying?
Yeah, because this place is not only a tap
Okay.
house. The den is going to be used for philosophical conversations about the emperor.
That is slightly less objectionable to me.
Good. Jesus. It's the time, man. Guilds would be putting out these kinds of people.
Oh no, this stuff is happening in Waterdeep all around you right now. You're not wrong. All right, give me a second. It turns out it's not Xanathar, so it might mean it's an unearthed mechanic. Give me just a second here.
I'm gonna take a guess on DMG and pull that out while you're looking at it. I was looking in Xanathars, and you're right, I didn't see it there. Hirelings, extras. We're looking at DMG page
Thank
94.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
God damn it. The one bad thing about watching all of those history documentaries with like Ruth Goodman and everything is that you get such brilliant fucking information about the time period, like mile houses, stable boys, and everything like that. But unless you like know where the transcripts are or anything like that, you can't like actively go research the paper. You have to find the spot in the video where they mentioned so and so
Right.
and did that bullshit. God, I wish I actively remembered what the fuck those things were called.
What,
Because like, it was like, yes, he's essentially a stable boy, but he had like a fancy name, and I also like had like a list of his like general jobs and doings. He was like the stable boy at a mile house was also a competent timekeeper, somewhat of a cook, also knew how to take care of horses and carriages. Like he knew how to like.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Okay, how much gold do you guys have again?
We have
It's enough.
180 dragons, one sun, a shard.
Don't you have
Amulets.
a document with like our group account?
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
There was
Hold on
a
a second.
group amount. I think the 180 dragons is my stuff.
I have a significant amount of money. Just well, I don't know how
You're fucking
significant.
Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have. Yeah, you guys have.
You could be
Between
rich, and I
you
wouldn't be surprised.
all, about 500? No, about 450 dragons. Okay, so a hireling of the sort that you're talking about, it turns out, will cost you 1 gold piece per day. So, if you work that out into a dowry, let's assume that you can negotiate some of that cost away because you're doing the training.
Yeah, I've also given them a place to live.
Yep. So rather than say 300 gold, 365 gold for a year, we'll call it, let's say roughly half that. Let's say 170 gold for a year.
Most definitely, and that's not including potential tips that they might make once the tap house is open.
That's just the dowry you're paying to their parents. You're saying, I know that taking away, or to the orphanage in this particular case, but
we just want to uplift them.
Right, you are effectively saying, hey, we're going to take this child, we're going to use them as labor, but they're going to gain some skills that when we release them will be very valuable to you. In the meantime, we recognize that we are taking away from you a potential source of income and survival. So please accept these dragons as a sort of, for lack of a better way to put it, a bride price for that.
Definitively. It'll be great. So what kind of adoptee are we looking for? I'm sure because Zanny? What are we calling her? It's been literally like 2 months.
Zelly, right?
It's Zelly. That's why I was laughing, dude, because I was like, yeah, all of those sound about right. Hold on, I better go look that up.
Yeah. Because Zelly probably, though I wouldn't assume, right? Zelly might not be interested in a dark, dank, sewer-like environment. Maybe she wants to pick out a new housemate. What kind of orphan are we looking for here? Generally, a strong one. Well-mannered. We're looking for
preferably one whose parents were acrobats.
Someone who lost their parents to gangsters.
Yeah. Which is not hard to find around here.
Face burnt off or something like that. Has a coin fetish.
That would be if they had an interest in the law.
I'm gonna name him Dick. Dick Grayson.
Yeah, Robert.
They already have a name.
No,
I'm renaming you, but that's not my name. Nah, it's your name now.
Yeah,
that's
cool. It's your name.
So, jokes aside, though, what sort of candidate are you looking for?
So they got to be a host. So they got to be amiable. So I'm not going to judge them exactly by looks, but I am going to judge them by how well they can, sell themselves.
Okay, I hate to raise this question.
We're
opening up a tap room. What age are we trying to hire here?
This person would be somewhere between 13 and 17 in human years.
Okay.
Yeah, remember, medieval society. They just have to be tall enough to get over the counter. If
they're going to be
old
older than you.
Oh, yeah, they are going to be older than you. Oh, jeez.
I'm glaring at you right now, sir.
I have 2 ages on this character sheet. I forgot about that. I need to remember that.
I guess
save this doc.
Let me ask you this: what would be the general option among races available? Because there is a brilliant young hobgoblin that I used to know back in the in that one area of town.
Yeah, I was going to say, really, it depends on where you wanted to look. The overall population is mostly human, followed secondly by various flavors of elf and dwarf. However, pretty much all of the other species have some amount of representation. So I don't see any reason why you couldn't, if you looked hard enough, say, find even an orc or a goblin child.
I'm open to all. Like I said, they just need to they need to be charismatic enough for the job. Got to sell themselves.
Oh, more than just sell themselves. They have to be able to carry a conversation. You know, that's honestly somebody who's spent time reading and, you know, been to theater and stuff like that. I think that's what we're looking for, is like a genuine entertainer.
Out of character, I kind of feel like a dick, because that means the person that we're selecting is like one of those either mom or big brother or big sister character types, right? And the entire orphanage is going to be gloomier for the next few days or weeks or months after their fuck.
After they're what?
After
they're gone.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I don't think they're going anywhere. With the amount of tips and the amount of love that they're going to be getting and having a platform where they can perform, I'm sure we can convince them to tell their parents, like, you know, I got a job. They want to keep me as a, you know, as a regular, you know, full partner or whatever it is. You know.
And yeah, they'll be in town too. It's not like they're going anywhere really far away. It's just like,
You're not holding anyone fucking hostage. I'm
No.
not allowing you to buy a goddamn slave, motherfuckers.
No,
that's not
we're
what I
not
was
going to hold them
saying.
hostage.
I was
It's
thinking of the stereotypical fucking Stuart Little scene in the very beginning of the movie that is nothing like the book. Let's not get into the tangent about the book and how fucking weird that
I'm
is.
talking about making the conditions so good that it's the only thing he wants to do, because, like, it's his spot.
Well, okay.
And kind of
so
giving
if
him
you-
the agency to
Or
have
her.
it be his or her
But it's
spot.
not.
We're there.
It's not about how the person feels. It's about how everyone else feels without having the entertainer there.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying out of character. Like, if you can imagine, Stuart Little might even get to be able to go back to the orphanage and hang out with some of his friends. That would be even a good parental, like, healthy thing to do. But also, remember the scene where he's like looking out back from the car, like, oh, I'm going to my new home. It's going to be awesome. And all of his friends from the orphanage are waving by. You know, that's a heartwarming scene. And that's all I like. I was saying that we get to be those fucking quote unquote monsters who aren't really monsters, but we get to enable that scene to happen.
We don't have to be monsters.
I
can
was
easily find-
being
I can easily
hyperbolic.
find- Through my contacts, I think I can actually locate the
The
perfect
most
way to...
disenfranchised child, so that we could like uplift them to such degree that we get like a Dio Brando. I'm okay with that.
Wow.
But at least a child we know is street savvy enough to not fuck with us.
Yeah, are there any like what do we have to do, Snipe Hunter, DM, player to character, for high statted NPC? Like what's the legwork here that we're gonna have?
I just need to reach out to my criminal network. You know,
Okay.
The criminal network's
yeah.
a good thing. Like, we've already have some golds here. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold up. Independent of how you pull it off, let's talk a little bit about the result that you want, because the impression that I'm getting now is that shut up. Dude. Hold on.
Sorry. Wow.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be rude to Google in public like that.
What did you say?
Anyway, I don't like. I get the impression that what you guys are looking for, even though you originally kind of threw it out as a joke, it's kind of a Robin. Is that true? Because if so, you don't want a hireling. You literally want a sidekick. So as your DM, I would like a more specific definition of what you're looking for out of this character.
Butler extraordinaire passeporte, except a child, so that we can,
You
do
want
the
young Alfred.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. Young Alfred sounds pretty good, actually.
passeporte. Passeporte was like 20 something in that book.
Yeah, passport 2.
Passport 2. Fine.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that's a sidekick. So I will need to stat that character up on the side because otherwise we'll be sitting here just for 20 minutes doing nothing.
So then let's say I reach out. I say I'll reach out to my criminal network and we'll hear back later. But it's gonna take take a bit of time to actually find someone.
Yeah, so I like that idea. To take it a step further, let's say that between those of you that are interested in finding a candidate, I will present you with like 3 options next time we play.
Hell yeah.
Okay, cool.
Kono Dio da.
Not Dio. We are not raising a Dio.
Oh,
So-
no, we can make Dio better. We can fix Dio.
No, Dio was broken from the moment he was born.
God damn it.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
Dio is not Griffith.
All right,
I
let's
would
talk about the
imagine-
basement now.
Yeah,
No,
we
Dio
we
works.
probably would have arranged that, and then people would have set off to make decisions, or I guess we decided that we're using connections. So I'm probably gonna stay with basement team, and whoever's gonna go with the pickup team goes with pickup.
I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I don't actually care who does which.
My-
We're just all going to do it as a group anyway. I'm just assuming that you split your resources just in terms of time management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My advice would be if the wood looks at all suspicious, don't pick it up today. Let me check it out tomorrow.
Yeah, there are a good dozen sources of lumber in Waterdeep. Most of them are imported from the north, so it's mostly pine. Generally speaking, though, like questionable wood doesn't really get peddled. There's really no reason to. So you're probably okay.
Not necessarily questionable,
By
but
reclaimed wood or something, in which case it might be worm ridden or like coming off the keel of a ship or something like that.
yeah. Or whatever other, maybe it wasn't cut very well or treated very well.
Right, so it's all like splintered on the inside.
Yeah. Not good.
Yeah, I'm just saying that kind of thing is rare for those sorts of materials.
Well, that's good. At least to have a standard of quality of some sort.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's actually kind of a consequence of the fact that like there's so much high scale grift that like a lot of people don't even think to focus on that kind of stuff. It's almost like a glitter and gold problem, right? Like when you're in the town with the people who steal world-ending artifacts, are you really going to be the guy that cheated somebody on lumber?
Right.
Yes.
Right. I mean, somebody probably is somewhere. I'm just saying it's pretty rare. Most people would rather join one of the guilds. I mean, criminal enterprises.
No, you don't join the guild. You just work in tandem with all of them.
I'm just saying that in Waterdeep, henching is a perfectly acceptable job.
I love stories that humanize the henchmen.
So let's talk about your bootlegger basement.
Yeah, we're bootlegging.
Yeah, so the space has been drained. It's relatively it's not as big as you thought it might have been.
Is there like a kombucha
In fact,
on it?
No, it's mostly so like everything is covered in a layer of like black. You hope it's dirt. Like a sludge, I guess is a good way to put it.
Algae!
Well, the only reason why I'm asking is because didn't the similar kind of stuff come out of the tap?
Yeah,
So we might want to reuse that.
interesting. Yeah.
I mean,
So
the stuff that was in the tap was really good.
Yeah, this is not that. This is clearly some sort of like dirt mixed with rot, maybe even feces. Like
Oh, that's disgusting.
it's not a thing that you want to necessarily save. I mean, you could. It absolutely has active ingredients, so to speak. I just don't think it's something that you would want.
Now, do I know how to make
So hold
powder?
on.
I'm joking.
You guys have the Troll Skull Manor players map open.
Oh. I can
See.
open that.
All right, let me see if I can do the drawing thing. Okay, in theory, you should see a black border now in the basement area.
I do, I
Right.
do.
Okay, so the space is about that big. However, on the north end of it,
Nothing popped up for me, by the way. You say,
oh, I didn't share the map. I just assumed it was open for everybody. Let me share it for you really
oh,
quick.
okay.
Man.
I mean, I can open it if you give me half a second.
I can do it fast. That's all.
Oh, so fast.
Yeah. So on the north end of the space, it's approximately, like I said, about a 10-foot. I didn't actually say, but as I illustrated, a 10-foot wide by about 15 feet long space. However, most of that is in a sort of like bottom floor that's only about 6 feet tall. So the blue box that you saw is really the only space connecting the level of the basement with the actual ground of the space. It is that shaft. You can now see at the bottom the broken bits of something akin to a dumbwaiter. So you guess that at some point things were lowered and brought back up through this shaft into the ale cellar. You suspect that they were smuggling some sort of alcohol, in fact, because there are more tons, big casks at the bottom, as you saw, basically in a row here.
Hmm.
Now we just need to figure out how the whole system works, and we can start smuggling.
Weird, the way they draw changed. It's neat. I actually really like it. Anyway, on the north end, however, on the bottom floor, is a gate. I was going to call it a door, but it's really just a series of iron rods that have been welded into a square frame. And you realize that the water that had been flooding this place probably originally came through here because the other side of that grate is now basically rubble and sludge and mud. It probably originally connected to the sewer or some other underground waterway, but that has now been blocked, and that blockage is probably how the water backed up into there.
Hmm. Okay.
It isn't actively leaking now, which could just mean that the sewer is not at high tide, or could mean that the average water level has fallen since it originally flooded, one of the two.
Hmm.
Indeed.
Kind of get through the investigate further.
You would probably need to excavate what's there, but like shovels and pickaxes could do it. Like you wouldn't need
If it's
like
bars,
big
it's like
magic or anything.
how tight is it?
Well, the bars are, like I said, they're in like a square metal frame that fits into the doorway. You think that you could probably like saw them out or file them out, like just file the edges that connect to the wall, and it would come out. You can't see a hinge or any other mechanism, so you don't actually know how it used to open and close.
Well, I'm smaller now. Could I like fit through?
If the other side weren't completely blocked with cruddy shit, absolutely. The bars are like a foot and a half. Like there's about a foot and a half of space between each of the bars. There's only like 3 bars in the doorway. In fact, 3 vertical bars and 3 horizontal bars. You could easily slip into one of the cells in that grid if it wasn't, like I said, blocked with gunk on the other side. Sorry, there's an epic cat philosophy showdown going on in my bedroom right now.
Wonder if we should actually kind of finish the job and seal that the rest of the way. make sure it's nice and strong and watertight.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, Karoma definitely has the skills to restore that dumbwaiter. So if you just wanted to use it as a sort of hidden vault, that's absolutely a thing you could do.
I kind of want to see what's on the other side.
Well,
I think it might be a sewer, but it is an interesting lead.
what are the bars made out of? Said they were iron or steel?
They're not rusted. They are, however, covered in black crap, so it's hard to tell what they're made out of, but you would guess it's some kind of steel.
Probably it's out or something. How tightly is the frame fixed in place?
The bars seem to go into slots in the masonry, so you would have to say pretty firmly fixed. Like the most obvious way to remove them would be to literally file through the bars. The bars themselves are only about like maybe 2 inches in diameter, but it would still take some effort to get through them. The metal
What would
frame,
it take
the metal
to?
frame that they're welded into is likewise about the same width, and seems to be made of the same material.
How difficult would it be to cling through it to where there's sludge that I could slip through to see if there's the proverbial button to push to open it?
You could try to excavate, there are pretty big rocks and stuff, but none so big that you couldn't try to pull them through the grating. Most of it's actually like mud or sludge, muck, for lack of a better way to put it. It's sort of like if somebody were to like tear up a backyard and like throw it all into a storm drain and it backed against the grate of a storm drain. That's kind of what it looks like.
Gotcha. Yeah, filing probably be best to go. File or a saw.
Yeah, I mean, alternately, I guess Kuroma could probably devise some sort of, equivalent of an acetylene torch that you could use.
Yeah.
It would be a simple task.
Then you would just need, naphtha or high quality spirits to fuel it. Actually, I guess you could probably do that with magic.
Probably. Considering I already manifest things like fire and
Right, exactly.
everything else.
Yeah, just design it to take your, one of your cantrips.
Right.
He is the Batman.
So other than that, do the casks all feel like they're still intact?
Oh.
So
like
one
they're
of them
not
is
leaking at all?
One of them is definitely intact. The cork that fills its bung is covered in wax. Like you can tell it's legitimately unmolested, for lack of a better way to put it. The other two, you're not so sure about. They both have something in them. If you, wow, my cat is really fucking yelling at the storm today. Don't mind him. If you investigate, though, give me a perception check, and I'll tell you what you learn about the other two.
All right.
And if you all want to do it, you can either elect someone and have him roll advantage, or you can each make separate rolls. Either way.
You said perception?
Yeah.
I thought you said investigation.
I'll take investigation, too, if that's what you'd like. I mean, honestly, it's the same task. Okay. Smoke and Kuroma. While the casks at first appear like they might be intact, you discover that one of the planks on the bottom of the middle cask is rotted out, and whatever is in there now is very likely not what was in there originally. In fact, there is a small pool of like oily black gunk pooling around the broken plank.
Ugh. One down.
Yep. So on the other one, it's questionable. Some of the planks seem to have some gaps between them, but you can't actually see all the way through. They're not leaking, so they may be okay. So you have one that you know is good, one that is absolutely not good, and one that might be good from what you can see.
Do we care to open it up and give it a whiff?
I'll analyze this. I'll analyze it.
All right.
No.
So you don't have a tap, but you could pull the bung, the cork out of the bung. I mean, and it will begin to splash out onto the floor. So if you did that quickly, you could do that without losing too much.
Or I think last time we just kind of pulled it out and tilted it a little, so that way it would, butter out to the full-on pour.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, you can absolutely maneuver it so that it doesn't leak too much. If that's what you guys want to do, does one of you want to elect to be the person who analyzes what comes out of it?
That was Karoma.
I'll do it.
Okay.
No risk.
All right. So you guys manage to sort of rock it up on its back. You pull the cork out. You slosh a bit into a canteen or a cup or something. I mean, you have plenty of options around you. The material that comes out of it is a brown, sort of tea-colored liquid. It smells very, very alcoholic. It doesn't seem to have anything floating in it. It seems to be relatively clear is not the right way to put it, because like I said, it's dark like tea, but it seems to be relatively pure, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it. Like I said, it smells like alcohol and like licorice.
Isn't that what the last one smelled like?
You mean the wine?
Sorry, hold on, guys. I got to answer the phone. Sorry, that was my sister. A cat of hers got out of the house, and she'd been missing him for about a week, and he finally showed up. So
Hell yeah.
Yay.
No, I saw her recently at work.
The cat?
No. His sister.
Oh, okay. Because you probably should have said something otherwise.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a shocking twist.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we found him. No, I'm joking.
But yeah, like apparently he was somewhere in their complex because she found him in the parking lot. But yeah, so she called and just let me know. They had been super bummed out about it. So
That's good to hear.
I wonder if someone
Yeah.
else thought they were going to take it in as their pet until it gave them.
very possible. He's only like a year old, so he's still kind of a kitteny cat.
Oh.
But he's also at that age in kittenhood where they do things like climb your drapes and tear apart your furniture.
You gotta keep an eye on him.
All right, so sorry, that completely derailed me. Where were we?
Mysterious liquid.
Yeah, no, I was gonna ask if it smelled like the liquid from before.
Ah, right. It didn't. So the last one smelled more like oh god, it was honey and like cherries and something else, right? God, I don't remember now, but it was more floral than this. This smells more like I said, like licorice or like tree bark. It's earthier, I guess is a better way to put it, or like spicier maybe is another way to say it.
All right, so that was a really good thing, but
I'll ingest some. How's it taste?
So are you and Mudar both gonna drink it?
I mean,
Yeah.
you really don't need to.
He already threw the die, so he did.
Oh,
How it works, brah.
Oh,
okay.
actually, in this case though, it's actually okay. It tastes good, but it doesn't taste like you would expect it. So like the stuff that was in the ale cellar was sweet. This is not sweet. It's not bitter exactly. Like again, spicy is perhaps another way to put it. But like it's pretty good. It's the kind of thing you would want to drink on a cold night while it's storming like a motherfucker outside.
Oh, so it's like a spiced rum.
Do I detect
Kind of, yeah.
any alcohol content?
Oh, it's super alcoholic, like probably 80 proof. It probably wasn't originally 80 proof for what it's worth.
Oh.
If you'll excuse me, I need to go
No
mediate a cat diplomacy issue.
I wonder, guys, if I can use my my connection, my friend that you picked out at the very beginning of the game. Remember? Because my friend is Durnan. I wonder if we can maybe talk to him about brewers or something. See if we can maybe, get a sustainable a batch of brew coming in, or we could just bootleg it. We have enough wisdom amongst ourselves to get some grain and put together a distillery.
I thought sure we were going to bottle off the stuff that's in these that we'll be able to use for serving. Bottle
Sure.
as necessary. And yeah, I suppose we could look into creating some sort of distilling sort of setup.
Yeah. It's just likewise too. We might, though. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we might want to use again Corona's connections.
Corona. I don't think that's his name.
Corona's connections. Because maybe this liquor was smuggled. Well, maybe let me fucking finish, man. Because this liquor was smuggled in here, or the evidence points to that the liquor might have been smuggled in here. So maybe we, unbeknownst to us, have some high class shit, and it might be better to hire a more quiet kind of synthesizer, brewer.
Interesting.
A specialist.
Yeah.
Sure.
Somebody who can either make this again but not be public about it, because if we suddenly come up with, super rare Mambo number 5 liquor, that only comes from one area.
Karoma, roll insight for me.
Sure. Bum, bum, bum.
Okay. So here's what you know. There isn't a guild or an authority in Waterdeep that polices the production of alcohol. However, there are rules about where that alcohol can come from, which is to say, there are import-export rules about alcohol, but there are no local rules. So, you know that if the world at large thought you were brewing your own liquor, it wouldn't really matter what you were actually selling.
Right.
Okay.
For
Okay.
what it's worth, right. For what it's worth, no one in Waterdeep would bat an eye if we started making our alcohol, regardless of what it might be.
So, if we want to recreate these particular things that we have, and I'm not saying we do or don't, what story might we give for why we can't recreate this particular batch?
We can recreate this particular batch.
Well, you would have to try to break down its recipe.
Yeah, I'm all like, can you make a machine that like atomizes or does something to like create this specific kind of liquor? Because if you can do that, then totally, we don't need any actual skill in brewing to do this. But I was kind of
Yeah,
like,
I was actually
I would like to
expecting
sell
we'd
this, but
rely
I
on-
was a little worried about how we were going to get more.
The
Yeah.
question is always time. I believe we have other priorities that concern me more greatly than synthesizing alcohol.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
anything is possible.
AFK for just a
Might be
second.
good to get another guy. Have a self-operating business while we work.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough liquor here in what you have and what's in the ale cellar that you could probably sell for a couple of months before you had to worry about acquiring a new supply. Now, for what it's worth, ale houses aren't necessarily always attached to breweries, so it's not unexpected if your availability of what's on stock changes. So if you want to sell what you have now as a way to like get ahead and make up some profits, you could just buy liquor from somebody else later to make up for it, and it doesn't have to be the same liquor.
Most definitely. Also, are any of us business savvy enough or wise enough to know about artificially inflating the value of something, like pushing it out for longer by saying we can only, sell so much in a day?
I don't think any of you are actually merchants, are you?
No, but when it comes to selling things among a criminal network,
I would say the closest to that would be Diggs's character.
Don't know. He is a bard.
Yeah, I mean, that would make you a face man, kind of, but that's not exactly the same thing.
I would probably think about things in more just primitive terms. The more scarce something gets, the more valuable it becomes. What remains. And so I figured that would be the pricing model. Not that we're going to start by selling it cheap, but every bottle costs more than the last one, to the point where, if we do it with a doubling sort of thing, by the time we get to the last bottle, it's like, an emperor's fortune.
Yeah,
Right, I get it.
So we have these things right here, and these can be our centerpieces for selling. But to last this out, or at least keen interest, I would then say, okay, maybe we want to buy like a barrel or two of common cider to put down here, and
Oh, hell
then
yeah.
sell
We're
that.
going to have tons of, just cheap shit that we're turning over. I figure we're going to have a full rack of wine and beer and everything in the back.
Okay, like if you wanted to go that far too, I also figured that we'd all want to share within the patronage. Like, I am a paladin, but I am a paladin of understanding. It's a lot of gold, a lot of dragons. You know, like,
Yeah.
are we
I
all
mean-
just gonna spend it on the tap house? I'm perfectly fine with that, but I got accounts to keep up, people to hire for the emperor.
Figure we would have some amount that's the budget for the tap house for improvement for it, and some amount that we pay ourselves.
The
You know,
private reserve. Well
for
done.
doing a job.
Okay. Well then, there. All right. What exactly are we picking up then, other than the wood and stone? Like what
I
is
think there was
today's job?
some metal and some bits and stuff. Some
Yeah,
nail rack.
extra locks.
100
100
gallons of
gallons.
cider. Yeah.
That's pretty damn good. Is there any printers or collars or something like that? I would want it to be known and to set up some kind of
There are
oration.
book publishers, and you can employ criers. Book publishers can also produce pamphlets for you that criers can distribute on your behalf. However, there aren't like billboards, and posting notes is generally frowned on as vandalism.
Quite. Yeah, so what's our next few days going to look like?
Well, today we're going to be visiting with Floon, Bolo, and Renair.
Good. Let's do that.
We should do that.
All right. Excuse me. All right, so moving forward, let's have them meet you in the tap room, I guess.
Sounds good.
Absolutely.
All right. They show up about mid-afternoon. You've at this point already done your two outings and endeavors, and they show up as a group, all of them together. Floon actually points at Volo and says, "You know, he didn't actually want to come. Originally, he tried to tell me that he wasn't gonna make it, but I feel like he got you into all of this. You should probably be a part of this." He sort of looks around at the tap room and sees that you've dusted and righted all the furniture and done what you can to clean up without actually performing real serious repairs yet. And he says, "So, opening a new business?"
Quite. I was thinking tap house and oration room, the den upstairs.
The whole time that he's saying this, you can see an almost literal twinkle in his eyes, and Volo is doing everything he can not to speak. Renar, the last of the trio to walk in, looks over right about the time that Floon asks you if you're opening a new business and says, "By the gods, what happened to you? Your children!"
Oh.
What are you talking about?
At which point Floon goes, "Okay, I wasn't going to say anything."
Well, is it that noticeable?
I am but 5
Some
years.
less than others, but
What you talking about, huh?
This one right here, though. I don't know what happened to it. Looks over the cat.
Our friend decided to grant us a gift, and it had some interesting consequences for our friends here, didn't it?
Oh, it was a wonderful gift. I appreciate it.
Me too.
yeah, Floon sort of like shakes his head, like nods and says, "That is
Isn't
a
isn't that right,
hell of a
Billy?
gift." Gazelle just sort of smiles and hides behind Corona.
The bird is still here, by the way?
Yeah, the Kenku's hanging around.
Hell yeah.
He hasn't actually done anything though. Like, you don't get the impression that he's like on your team exactly. Like, maybe he's just camping on your couch, metaphorically.
He's like Todd.
Yeah.
I mean, I figure he's just going to collect as much information. When he gets hustled, he's just going to start quoting us.
That's probably a safe bet, to be fair.
Yeah, which is why I didn't really necessarily want to keep him around after you used him as a guide. But, whatever. I mean, it's up to you to exercise your dominion over him and convert him into one of our sidekicks. Otherwise, you're not doing your end of the bargain for keeping him around.
I've been trying to keep him near me and in my room, so I am his Bojack and he is my Todd. Yes.
Yes.
Can I do a routine with him every morning to try to set up a repertoire?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, he plays things close to the chest. You're not going to get the kind of connection that even Bojack has with Todd out of this guy.
Damn.
He's way more like. Did you ever see Half Baked?
I have.
He's way more like the dude who ends up on their couch.
Oh, yeah.
So at least that guy's we can at least make sure that guy doesn't fuck us over, right?
He hasn't done anything that would bother you. He hasn't even been nosy. So far, he's just been hanging out.
Interesting.
I mean, he even kind of helped you clean up the tap room. He just isn't like he's not part of your schemes. He's, you guys are like, hey, we're going to go do this thing. And he's, ducks his head a couple times and sits down at a table.
All right. I'm kind of cool with that. I'm allowed.
But are you Ken cool with that?
I got a joke for you, Verde.
Gotta let him chill. What's up?
Where does Kagome do laundry?
Oh my God, where?
No, where?
Inuyasha.
Oh, God!
No.
Oh,
I saw that coming. I couldn't turn away.
I don't know where it was going to come from. Oh, man. That was fantastic.
All right, so Floon sort of, he does a sort of double take at your new friend, and he says, "She gave you that gift."
Doesn't matter.
Deceiving. Doesn't matter though. That is right.
Interesting.
However, the question is, what kind of gifts can you give us?
Flood sort of laughs at that, and he says, "Well, let's get down to business then. There are several problems in the city right now, of which you, of course, are intimately familiar with one. There is a potentially reality-shaping artifact in play and somehow in search of the various powers that exist here in Waterdeep. Well, you can imagine that the organization I represent is absolutely against this falling into the hands of anyone. And so we're still pursuing the matter. We think there might be a place for you in that effort, given what we've seen so far. I mean, of course, it's entirely up to you. I'm not asking you to join the Harpers yet. I understand that you are not necessarily aligned with our goals. However, there are other matters that we could use your help with as well. If you're willing, I could make it worth your while. The Harpers pay for information.
That's something that we might have in ample amount. What exactly are you looking for?
Likewise, the ability to get.
Well, there are a few things.
That was Floon, not Volo?
That was Floon.
Okay.
Volo's kind of just hanging out. You get the impression he was dragged to this meeting, that he actually didn't want to do with any of this cloak and dagger stuff.
Well, that's what was said in the first place, right? That he couldn't make.
He originally said he wasn't going to show up.
So him and the Kinku are drinking.
There's so many new monsters, though, that we could find in this adventure. I'm sure that'd be great.
What sort of information were you looking for?
Well, right now we have, like I said, there are several things that bother us. We want to know what the Xanathar Guild is doing. We know that they're looking for the artifact. We know that they're looking for the gem. We don't know what leads they have. We don't know where they're looking. We know that they have an interest in many of the southern districts of Waterdeep, but we don't know why. This is super troubling for us. He doesn't actually say super, pardon my California. This is troubling for us, though. He says, generally, the Harpers like to think that we understand what's going on in this city, if not the entirety of the Sword Coast. To not know what someone like Xanathar is up to is scary, especially with the fact that this gem is in play.
Expect some sort
Absolutely.
of foul play or mounting threat.
Well, and he sort of nods over to Renar, and he says, "We know that in some way, Lord Never Ember, excuse me. I don't know why I always say Never Remember. It's funny.
You never remember
but yeah,
to say never
he says
remember.
Yeah, right,
Sorry.
exactly. But he says we know that Lord Neverember is in some way involved. The rumor originally started that he was sitting on a cache of gold, if you recall. So in some way he has a part to play in this. We were hoping perhaps that you could arrange an investigation into the matter. He points again to Renar and he says, Renar's not going to make any headway approaching the matter himself. His family won't even speak to him. But perhaps there are ways for, and he sort of nods his head and he says, mercenaries such as yourselves to gain access to where even a son could not.
Ah, I have a few ideas right now, but I need a little bit more context. Do you have any ideas of how we might go about finding this information, or are we at our disposal to use, what we know of the Xanathar and the people who are looking for this item to try to attract them so that we can get information from them?
Well,
Any leads?
there are a few, right. I don't know how Neverember is involved. In fact, Renar is certain this is some sort of mistake, so it's possible that he even legitimately is not involved. What I would be looking for from the efforts of, say, troubleshooters such as yourselves would be some way to verify either that he is involved and the extent of his involvement, or that he is not involved, so that we can begin to place our resources elsewhere.
I might have an idea on how to attract that kind of information towards us,
Oh,
but it would need a little effort.
What did you have in mind?
So this is also just off the shoot, but it's an interesting idea. We have an opportunity in an area here that is new, right, and somewhat under the rug per se. It's not a high. People don't know about this place yet. It doesn't have a really big renown as a location. People don't really know about us. If we could get this place set up in the next few days, weeks, we could host something of an items auction, a gathering of certain VIPs or something like that, host a party of sorts where we would auction items or something of the sort, and then perhaps we could get information on people who are interested in that kind of.
I see. A sort of honeypot to attract any potential suspects so that we could identify them.
That's the goddamn term. Yes, exactly. A honeypot. Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe even reach to this liminal edge of saying we have something that could be misinterpreted as this item per se, but not the item itself. Something that they would
Interesting.
be able to go, oh, of course, that's not the item.
Something of equal import or perhaps power, however, would be difficult to come by. How do you intend to establish your bona fides?
Well, there is the balancing act of reputation. We would need just the minimal amount of time to set up this place as a good spot for that kind of event. If we set it up and we have the wrong kind of atmosphere or whatever, we could say that we're hosting this event and no one would come and no one would believe us or anything like that. So there has to be a bit of a show going on when this place opens up. On top of that, we also need to be active on the midnight. On the flip side, we need to go sort of looking for similar either events or situations and not directly pose these questions, I think, but definitely infiltrate the territories of our competitors.
What you're saying makes a lot of sense. I'm worried about the time frame, however. To establish the reputation as smugglers and fences of that caliber is going to take some time. I don't know that we have it. He looks around the tap room and he says, there's definitely merit in your plan, though. This is a long-term resource. This could be very interesting. And he sort of looks sort of around himself and down at the ground and up, and he says, a place where people came to sell secrets would be an excellent place for a Harper to run.
Oh, the Emperor is the one who guides.
Of course. I didn't mean to presume, he says with a sort of half smile. He says, however, like I said, time is of the essence here. I don't know that we have time for that sort of approach. I think that's an excellent long-term plan that I would highly recommend you develop in any sense, in any way. However, the information that we need soon, within days, maybe a week. Xanathar is not a patient sort. He will make a move.
Are the Harpers ready to interrogate somebody for information? Because Grimshar seems to be the number 2 of the Mind Flayer. Appears to be running the search. Our details about him are very minimal.
I know who you're talking about. Really? Xanathar put him in charge.
Yeah. Weird looking fella.
Yep. Him and his little stolen brain pet or whatever it is.
Those are dangerous people. I did not realize that. Then he stops and he says, I heard his voice so many times. I didn't even realize.
Realize what?
You were speaking to Xanathar's second in command.
Grimshar?
For Xanathar. No, I'm sorry. I speak of Grimshar's commander, the Illithid.
Yeah, no, he didn't speak to us as soon as we barged in. Pretty much got the hell out there.
Yeah, and Floon nods and he says, "That's right. I apologize. I was in no condition. Like I said, when I was being beaten by that orc, I heard the Illithid's voice many times. I didn't realize who it was that was there. It says so much that he would have been sent for this job. Imagine the king of a massive kingdom sending his seneschal to interrogate a foot soldier.
Makes sense. This job is the utmost importance.
Clearly.
Also makes me... Yeah, the plan that I had was too long scope, but are there perhaps anybody else trying to do the same thing? Anybody who has established themselves?
Well, we have a few things working in our favor. One, no matter how the Never Embers may feel about Renar, the idea that he was in the hands of gangsters, for lack of a better word, is not a thing that they would have allowed to have happen for long, and it's certainly not information they would want made public. The fact that you managed to diffuse that situation relatively discreetly works in your favor. Let's say that it speaks well on your resume. Neverember is also well aware of the political situation. He knows that everyone believes that he is the, shall we say, golden goose in this goose hunt. So I think that he will be looking for people that he can trust to perhaps escort him out of the city so that he can return north to his hometown. You have an opportunity then, I think, and he looks at all of you, to present yourselves as his escort, perhaps as a favor to Renar, as a gesture of his desire to reconcile with the family. And Renar sort of spins where he was sitting at the bar when Floon says this and goes, "Oh, please."
Would they buy that?
Oh, they might, but I know they won't care.
I'm sorry, that answer seems counterintuitive to me.
Let me put it this way. It wouldn't be the first time I've tried to reconcile with my family. It wouldn't be the last time either.
Are they the kind who would still take the help and then brush you off anyway?
Oh, certainly. They've never returned anything I've sent them.
Ah, well. I don't feel exactly inclined to help them, though I am willing to, Renair, if you are okay with this plan.
Well, he is my father. I don't want him to die, and I mean, you've managed to keep the rest of us alive.
Most assuredly, most assuredly. Just as a last-ditch effort, and Mudar looks back to Floon, do you have anybody of high repute that owes you any favors, but may not be directly tied to the Harpers, that could initiate such an event at this location? As to my old plan.
Well, if you're willing to help us with other matters, I could certainly help you establish your bona fides, so to speak. We could arrange, for example, to ensure that you host one of our events.
That
could
would
be done.
cover us as a Harper location. And specifically for this kind of information that you want, wouldn't that be a liability that you would rather not deal with?
Well, there's events hosted by us, and there's events hosted by us, if you understand what I mean.
Most assuredly. I'm sure Xanathar does as well, though.
Well, everybody plays the game. However, I think that, just so that you understand, what I'm saying is that from time to time, it's necessary in our own operations to fly flags of a different color, as it were. When we do, it would be nice to know that we had a safe location to do so from.
Most absolutely. I and the Emperor would wish this place to be a third location. One away from home, but also away from work.
Interesting. There are other things that we could potentially negotiate for. The Harpers are always looking for potential safe houses. It would definitely be in our best interest, for example, for a safe house to have a reputation as a place where people could go to have questionable business done safely.
Of course. So would many other people.
Indeed.
A third location.
Indeed. Well, if there really is something that interests you, I do actually have a problem that I could, well, let's call it throw your way to see how things go.
Most definitely. Especially if it might put us on the radar for his father to might want to hire us to get him to his hometown.
There is a bookstore in the Trades Ward on Sorn Street. The owner of the store is a woman named Uza. She recently reported to me that she had been attacked by a monstrous orb of many eyes. She claims that this monstrous orb somehow resides now in her bookstore and refuses to open the place. This is probably for us for a number of reasons, not the least of which being that the bookstore is a dead drop of ours, and there are things we need to pick up desperately.
That sounds like a mimic. Those are very tricky things.
Indeed. If the bookstop has been infested with a mimic, that would be a thing that we would need removed. Whatever the problem actually is, if you could clear the block out of the way, we would be in a position where you have scratched our back, and so we would have to scratch yours, no?
But of course.
I suppose
Wouldn't think it.
fiendish abomination in a bookstore is probably just a bad thing for the community in general.
Exactly. And also books. Think if we can get the bookstore open, rid this woman of her infestation, what book she might gift us? I would love a good book. I would even pay her for a book.
I like good books. Good books are precious.
Exactly. Maybe we could even have like a public library-esque kind of thing. It would be neat if we could get like some kind of magical tokens so that they couldn't be taken out of that building.
Neat.
I suppose the other approach would be trying to use this as part of the way to publicly show our sort of feat of reputation. That it's not just that we're trying to promote the tavern; we're also promoting us as the heroic owners of the tavern. But,
Heroes for hire.
yeah, exactly. And of course, you can come get a drink with the heroes.
Or learn philosophy.
Hey,
Maybe
man.
hear from the bard.
Even just as a strategy for selling fucking beer, that's not a bad idea.
Come pet the cat.
Meow? What?
Talk to the bird.
He does impressions, actually. It's pretty great.
There's a lolly here who thinks she's a dragon.
I'm going to write a light novel about this place, I'm pretty sure. All right. Well, so Floon stands and he says, well, gentlemen, I hope this is the start of a productive relationship.
Where's the bookstore?
You will find it on Sorn Street in the Trades Ward. The name of the place is, and he sort of nods and he says creatively, Uza's Bookshop. Ask around, though. It's pretty well known. Pretty much anyone should be able to get you there.
And where does Uza
That
live?
place sounds pretty slick.
Uza lives above her shop.
Where is she residing right now?
That's an excellent question, actually. I received a note from a courier. I actually have not spoken to her. I presume she will be somewhere near her shop. What an interesting challenge for you.
White. Well then, I do indeed hope this will be the start of a mutually beneficial relationship. Gives him the strongman hand. Handshake.
Yeah, right. He returns it with aplomb. All right.
Renair, do you want to come with us? Sounds like a blast.
Renair laughs and says, no, absolutely not. In fact, if you have any intention of speaking to my father, it's best if you pretended that we perhaps only knew each other that one time.
Yes, quite. Where might your father be in a position or place that we might make an impression upon him?
Well, if you will recall, we visited his estate after, or rather, right before we rescued Floon. You can probably find him there. If not, he thinks about it for a moment. He says, if not, then he might have already left the town prior, because I can't think of anywhere else he would be right now.
If he isn't there, then somebody has already somebody has already done our job for us.
Well, we would have certainly heard if something had happened to him, so I would imagine it would mean that he had returned to Neverwinter.
Exactly.
Neverwinter, excuse me.
Renair, what do you think that this tap house needs? Do you wanna write in your patronage?
He looks around and he says, well, they could use a bit of a facelift, maybe some paint or some of that new stuff. You know, they put like, and he sort of like makes a sort of waterfall motion with his hand, and he says, it's like paper or like cloth. They paste it right onto the walls now.
Yeah.
Oh, that made me think of something.
Outfit?
Okay, table talk. What was the name of the thing of the particular style that this house was done in? We found out about it last time. The rune carved thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what we called it though, but yeah, the elven style.
Right. Would
Rune
they
carved.
know? Like with him talking about the walls and stuff, I could ask him that question about it because.
Oh, that's a really interesting question. Hold on a second.
This is another reason why I want to go to this bookstore. We might find some books about some room binding, and we might be able to teach ourselves via autodidactive behavior.
I feel like fix stuff in place, put stuff up on the wall afterward.
But I mean, like, have you bound runes into the very...
Yeah, he's talking about the way that there are elven carvings that are magically imbued.
Oh
Yeah.
no. I mean, if you show me what I'm supposed to carve and where to carve it, I can do it. But I don't really know how to.
Yeah, Renard doesn't
style.
know shit. By the way,
Renard's not the only one here right now.
Renard.
yeah, Floon's not really into that kind of history, so he probably doesn't know either.
How about Volo?
Let me pull up. Yeah, Volo might though. Let me pull up his stat block.
Likewise, might Volo know somebody who does know? Like, he knows subject matter experts. He must.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Like he can tell you where you can find the kind of information you're looking for. He might know it himself, however.
But I'm also trying to press Renair to give us patronage.
Ooh, okay. Oh, well. Yeah, I don't think Volo was really listening.
God damn it.
Yeah, that with his bonus, that actually ends up being an 8, which is at least better than a 4, but is still not really going to be enough for him to be able to give you any useful information. That says, he does say that you can find all kinds of information about old school architecture and rune scribing if you look. You usually will find them in treaties and grimoires specifically. The rune scribing stuff is generally found in codices written by dwarves, not actual elves.
Interesting. Do you think the Madame Ooze would have some?
I mean, maybe. She could also order, potentially. I mean, one of the nice things about Ooze's shop is that you tell her what you're looking for, and she'll figure out how to get it for you. She also stocks my entire library.
Nice. You're so smart. How many different mimics have you run across?
Oh my, it's hard to say given the way that mimics work. Maybe 9 different kinds.
And besides holy fire blessed by the Emperor, how would you get rid of one?
I mean, honestly, fire is generally pretty much the go-to. That's what most adventurers would tell you.
Volo, he
Also,
looks
though,
Volo, the books. Volo.
Do you
Volo,
think you could
the
make
books.
a mimic a pet?
Oh.
what?
Oh, I love this tabaxi. I pick him up.
That's Volo shakes his head and he says they're
How?
feral predators.
Yes, and so are cats.
But so are wolves and other hunting creatures like
Cats.
owls.
Cats.
I think
You know, I've done some research on the subject, and I don't recall any particular instance of someone keeping a mimic as a pet. As a bound servant, certainly they are susceptible to that sort of magic, but domesticated? And he sort of shakes his head.
Volo, come on. You know you're interested.
It would make an excellent story.
No.
Well, let me
What
ask you
other
this.
knowledge do you have?
You know about them, so maybe you can answer this for me. Unlike a dog or a cat that eats as much as it feels it needs to and moves on, is it not true that mimics maybe eat compulsively, devour compulsively?
They
It's
do.
just-
They
it's just
actually
a story.
generally they're ambush predators, which is to say that they generally don't hunt actively. They generally lie in wait. However,
Oh, like trap spiders.
yes, absolutely. And he points at the young kittenish tabaxi and he says, it's a good point, son.
Don't people keep spiders as pets as well?
Maybe in cages. The thing about mimics, though, is that they can lapse into a state of dormancy if they have consumed all the food in the region, and then they will lay in wait. In some cases, we assume even centuries until somebody comes nearby, at which point they will awaken again and will consume their fill. I'm not entirely certain that they are a species that dies of aging.
What kind of magics would bind a mimic, and or are they known for any peculiar taste, any sweet meats that they enjoy?
Well, they seem to delight in eating sentience. I don't know if that's just because that's how their hunting habits have adapted, or if that's a flavor preference. They're feral, so no one's ever really communicated with one. I mean, in fact, most people have presumed that they are some sort of magical construct or a modified creature that got loose, that got away from some wizard.
Like an alchemy monster.
Right. I mean, these things have happened before. I'm not going to name any names, Owlbear, but these things do happen from time to time. So it's possible. Another possibility is that there used to be a spell for creating them that was very popular. After all, this was, and he waves his hand around us, this is a very powerful magic kingdom about 10, 15,000 years back. If that's the case, wow, did those guys summon a lot of mimics.
But how might we bind one? A feral guard dog in our cellar might be the perfect deterrent for anybody trying to get into the larder.
Most wizards of the modern age who put mimics into service use some sort of charm or command spell. They're interesting in the sense that they're relatively single-minded creatures, we believe, in that if you can successfully imprint a command on a mimic, it will keep that command for years until it is satisfied.
OOC, really?
That's what Volo's telling you.
Holy shit, I know command.
He says, so, as a deterrent, it's often the case that one is captured or otherwise somehow brought into being. placed somewhere in, well, let's just call it what it is, a dungeon, and is given a command to guard a door or a treasure. It will stay there until someone tries to take that treasure or open that door, at which point it will attempt to do what it does, having been released of its command.
Is there any kind of physical binding that might hold them?
Well, in the sense that they generally prefer one type of form. No one's ever actually seen a young mimic, so we don't know if they're just born with only one form or if they adopt one form and then that's the form they mimic from that point on. But generally speaking, if you see a mimic, say mimic a doorway or a buck pillar or a chest, that's probably all they're ever going to be.
They do not grow in size over time?
They don't seem to, in the sense that you mean it, no.
All right. Well, then, so that's saying it's all dependent on their size.
Indeed. But nobody understands how they get to be that size. Again, nobody knows the life cycle of a mimic.
I believe Largus, Diggs, Groma, Smoking Dial, that we can get ourselves an interesting pet.
I already have a pet.
I'd
think that's the other way around.
rather not have something that I truly can't trust whether or not it devours us for our patron hanging around.
That's why you just put them in the doorway, like the one down there.
If you're worried about security, I can take care of it.
Well,
yeah, that's
I
true.
mean,
You
on
do
the
have
other
an
side of
alarm
the
service.
door.
Do we know that a
Indeed.
mimic can't get through small, tight spaces or break through eventually?
It depends.
Yeah, they're actually relatively, like, malleable is not the right way to put it. Squishy, I guess, is a good way to put it.
They're like gels or goose.
Yeah, exactly.
They're great.
So, like,
you seal it in an airtight chamber, and then we can't hang out with it like some pet. Great job.
Right.
As a Dark Souls player, the only good mimic is a dead mimic.
Oh man, they were put there for some reason. It's totally a great deterrent to drop off in the sewer.
Yeah, and then
No,
once it's done
really
being a
not.
deterrent, it's, a threat to the community we have to deal with.
Yeah, remember, as soon as it actually successfully executes your command, it's done. Then you just have a feral mimic wherever you left it.
What if that command is stay here for X amount of, inconceivable time?
Well, then it's not a particularly useful creature, right?
Well, I didn't say that it couldn't attack anything that came within its
Oh, that-
vicinity. I just said that it's
No,
hunting.
you said stay here, so it would do exactly that.
It would stay there.
Yep, for the duration specified.
Interesting.
It
Would it
probably
not-
just lapse into fucking
Four.
stasis.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Guard this specific area for this amount of time. I can cast.
Yeah, it would interpret that as having done that successfully after it defeated its first intruder.
Ah, damn! You can't. Yeah. This is like. Are you gonna make me program an AI if I really wanted to do this?
Pretty much.
Okay. And I only have 3 command words to use.
Yep.
Okay. This is a good puzzle. I like this. I like.
I mean, you also still got to catch yourself on Mimic, too.
Is nobody else interested in
I
coding?
won't help you in this charade.
I'd rather kill it, get it.
God damn! None of you are engineering there. All right. We think killing it and getting it done with is good too. But I mean, that's a badass opportunity. Snipe Hunter would let it happen. Maybe
That's some high-level wizard shit if you pulled it off.
it's not even all that high
But
level.
we don't
wizard
have a
shit.
high-level
It's-
wizard.
No,
That's the
all you
problem.
need is command. That's
Well, yeah, when I say high-level wizard, I mean like pro level. I don't mean like level.
That's like he means like that's 1,000 IQ bullshit.
Exactly.
Defeat all enemies here 1,000 years.
It's getting closer.
Enemies here for next 1,000 years. So
You
that's
probably would have said defeat all of my enemies here for
Fair.
the next 1,000 years.
But hey, right direction. Still said that I can't
Yeah.
have a mimic for a pet. That would be an awesome belt buckle. Or no, best gloves ever. Could you imagine? I could scale walls so easy.
That's funny shit.
Oh, I saw somebody post an item on
That's
the
the Guyver turned into a D&D character right there.
Unearthed Arcana Reddit. That was a half slain mimic that was converted into a cloak. So if people tried to grapple you, it would bite them.
Yeah, rad. That's cool. Yeah, you could abuse the hell out of that. All right, guys, it is relatively late, so I don't think we're gonna head out on to further adventures tonight.
yeah.
That's fine.
So,
Sorry, I derailed us, guys. But still, mimic pet would have been kind of cool.
oh, yeah, for sure.
God, I'm
Well,
gonna still think about it. If we're ending the
yeah.
game here, I have enough time to fucking think about this.
Yeah, you do.
I might be able to convince you guys to at least try it during our kill attempt, because capture and contain is the first step to capture and kill.
Fair enough.
It's an easy plan B, is all I'm saying.
Right, I get it. All right, guys. Well, thanks for playing. I'm glad we actually got a session in. That's super cool.
For sure. Thanks for hosting. Thanks everyone for showing up.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
I do enjoy the opportunities that this game presents. Like, I got to at least think about maybe creating a honeypot situation.
Your
We still can.
lower hallway kind of looks like a cock and balls.
It's a spaceship.
It kind of does, yeah.
It's a spaceship.
It's a spaceship.
Always a
I'm just
spaceship.
gonna leave it that way.
Fair enough.
All right, cool. I am out of here. I gotta jump in the shower and then call it a night. I will talk to you all later.
Cool.
See you
Peace.
later. Have a
Later,
good one,
guys.
everybody.
Ciao.